It's a tench. Ah, well, I said I wanted a tench and I've got one. A bit of a longer video today. The session was in two parts really. When I first arrived, I caught some tench and bream, and then there was a fairly quiet period, after which in the early afternoon the carp started moving around. So I tried some floating crust after them. So as I say, a bit longer than normal, but I hope you find it interesting. Hi again, I'm back at Earith. I rather fell in love with this small gravel pit last week, my first visit last week, and I'm back again, and I'll probably be back a few more times, so I hope that doesn't bore you too much. Last week was a bit exploratory. I was float fishing and most of the time catching roach and rudd. Ended up with a koi carp, which was quite a battle in the lily pads. But I was keeping my eye open all day and watching where the activity was, surface activity and bubbles and what have you. And I noticed quite a lot of activity out by a central reed bed. When I say central, it's only about 10-15 yards from where I'm sitting. So today I brought a second rod. I'm only going to use one rod at a time, which I tend only to do. And I'm going to put a ledger out by those reeds. I've thrown in a few small balls of mashed bread and a few handfuls of maggots with the catapult. And I've also put some mashed bread out beyond the lilies where I was float fishing last week, so I can always revert to there if nothing happens in the reed bed. So a bit of a different approach this week. See what happens. And today it is overcast, so probably a more favourable day than last week when it was very bright. Although the weather suggests it's going to brighten up a bit later. So we'll see how we go, as they say. Anyway, enough chatting. I'm going to get started. I'm all tackled up, all ready to go. So it's just a matter of getting going. So off we go. Right, almost ready to go. As I said in the intro, that central reed bed last time there was a lot of activity. So I've put a bit of bait down between the sort of near part of those reeds and those lilies. And the advantage is fishing out there rather than over the back of these lilies, where I've also put some mashed bread out and some maggots, is that if I get a fish over by the central there, I can hopefully start to muscle it away from the lilies and the reeds, whereas over the back of the lilies in front of me, it would obviously go straight into all this cluster. So if I can get them feeding out there, it would be a lot better. I'm using a greyish rod again, but it's not the Rover float that I've used on a few occasions recently. It's the same range and it's called the Rover Specimen, so it's a little bit beefier. And I've got 8-pound line on in case I get into anything significant. I've never actually used this rod before. It's actually, as they say, straight out of the bag. I bought it years ago as a holiday rod, never used it on holiday, and haven't actually got it out since. So I promised myself this year that I would use the Rover float, the one I had last week, and this one, get some use out of them. So that's where we are. I'm going to try a bit of bread flake out there to start with and see what happens. I think something went for that bait as soon as it went in. I hadn't even got my bite indicator on. I think the ducks are still confused where all the bread was I threw in. Yeah, there's something going for it, isn't there? Whether it's small fish just pulling at the bread, I don't know. Or at least the bread's still on if they're still pulling at it. Yeah, they tend to be sort of whacking at it rather than taking it well. I don't know, this is not right. This is definitely not a rud. Oh, it's a tench. Oh, well, I said I wanted a tench and I've got one. Amazing. Not a big tench, but it's a tench. Oh. Wow. That's a good start. That was a good start. Super. It's like it's been injured at some point. It's probably been attacked. Perhaps the hook's come out. Yeah, so that's handy. So, this is the first tench I've caught for a long, long time. Not big, but an achievement. Super. All right, let's put you back in, shall we? Yeah, okay. Something playing with it. I was experimenting using a shower curtain ring as a bite indicator, but in practice it didn't really work out as I thought it might. It was fine as an indicator, but when I struck it made a resounding click against the rod. It was a bit annoying really, so I reverted to my little cork bobbin that I have used in the past. Yeah, this is another tench, I think. It's fighting or not. Ah, oh, come off. Wow, what a ball. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's quite a fresh breeze today, but fortunately this little corner is surrounded by trees and it's quite protected really, but it's probably creating a fair bit of surface movement on the lake. So it's probably better that I'm ledgering, because I think the float would be moved around a bit. Next cast I may go out by the lilies where I was float fishing last time. This is definitely better. Definitely got some muscle in it. And I think it may have got me into the lilies. It got me into something because I can't move it. Ease off a bit. I can't feel any movement. Try hand lining. Nah, put me into the lilies. I was on the lily stem, not on the fish. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. That was a good fish. Oh well. So much for pulling the fish away from the lily pads. Yeah, that was a good fish. Well, I just pushed a few more maggots out there. I didn't bring a lot of liquidized bread, so don't want to use the rest of it too quickly. You see that splash over there? The fish are on the move. Yeah, I don't know what that last one was. It could have been a carp, of course. If it was a tench, it was a really decent tench. Certainly put a bend in this rod, and this is supposed to be a sort of specimen version of my Prodigy Rover range. So, but it obviously knew how to get away from me. Ah, well, a lot of excitement, really. I mean, say I've only been here about an hour, and a lot of that was setting up. I've probably only been fishing just over half an hour or so. Here we go. Oh, nothing there. Oh, can you believe it? Right, I'll flick the video off while I'm just rebaiting because I'm going to run out of battery if not. I think losing that fish might have spooked things a bit. It's gone a bit quiet now, but there's been a few tremors on the bite indicator, but that may be small fish just picking at the bread. Once again, it is very quiet here. I think I'm probably the only one on the lake. But I've tucked myself away in a little corner here, and there is much more of the lake sort of over that way. There's like an island that splits it in two, and I'm on one half of it. When I say an island, it's obviously not a complete island. It's a sort of connected island to the mainland. And you've got probably the main part of the lake on the other side of that island, where all the camping is. And on that bank over there, the people camping have the priority. Well, in fact, they have more than the priority. You're not supposed to fish there as a day ticket, but it don't really matter because. There's this end of the lake which is, I'm probably as far from the car park as you can get, but having said that, it's not a long walk. It's a lovely quiet little corner. I feel quite happy sitting here in the peace. The background noise is the guy cutting the grass. He took my money and he said he was going off to cut his grass, so there is a bit of a background hum at the moment. That's about it really. But I think that last fish probably spooked things a bit. It's gone very quiet. Well, I changed to maggots, and I didn't have the video switched on, so you missed the beginning of this. But something took the maggots, and it feels a better fish. I think it's a bigger tench. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I changed to a bunch of red maggots. And, yeah. Oh, this is a tricky swim to fish. I'm bringing in half the lake with me. Yeah, you missed the beginning of that, but it was a bit like the one I lost. It tore into the reeds and the lilies, and I thought it was bigger than this, to be honest. The way it fought, it really had a go. If I get a really big one, I'm not sure I'll get it in. Just let it recover a little bit, because it really had a go. Anyway, second tench of the day. I say this time on a bunch of reds. Which have come out. A bit of a big hook for maggots really. I think it's, I'm not sure what it is, it's 12 perhaps. Yeah. A little bit of mouse damage there. So I say it's not a massive fish, but they certainly give a good account of themselves. Lovely fish, aren't they, tench? They really are. They're so different to everything else. Right, let's put you back. Quite fat. bought the bigger net today. Optimist as usual. There you go. There's an interesting story behind the little cork bite indicator, bobbin indicator that I'm using there. If any of you read my little book, you will know it, but basically when we were lads we used to fish the Welsh Harp in Willesden, which is now Brent. Probably they would have called the Welsh Harp Wembley then, I'm not sure actually. No, I think it was the Willesden side, perhaps it was the border. The River Brent runs through the middle of the Welsh Harp, which is actually the Brent Reservoir, but it's a canal. It's a reservoir which feeds the canal. Anyway, we used to fish up there, and on one occasion we were there and we bumped into a guy from our fishing club, a young guy from the fishing club, and he was ledgering worm and catching some rather nice roach, and we were probably float fishing and not catching anything, which was the story of the day for us really. But he was using this little bobbin indicator, and so we all copied it, of course, as kids. And it is dead simple really. It's just obviously a wine bottle cork with a lady's hair grip. Probably don't see many of those these days. Just push through the middle of it, then you tie a bit of line to the round end of the clip, and tie that to the lanyard thing that you just hook onto your rod rest, and then the clip obviously is sprung, so you can just push the line in. So it's very simple and quite effective really. I've moved over to my camcorder now, and giving my head cam a rest because the battery's going to run out with all this sitting and waiting. So I'm recording this on my iPhone because the camcorder's a bit too far away to pick up my voice, so we'll see how that works. But things are not happening. Things have gone very quiet actually. I've just put some maggots out in the #1 spot where I was getting fish before, but so far nothing. I perhaps ought to catapult a few more maggots out and to pique their interest a bit. That wasn't very good. More over me than in the thing. Yeah, the problem with the camcorder is if I put it a little way away from me, it will pick up my voice, but it's not very, you get a lot of background noise, and the background noise obviously competes with the voice, and I've made things a bit worse really by putting an improvised wind muffler over the mic, because it used to pick up wind noise quite badly, and by putting some thin sort of foam over the mic, that's improved, but it does mean it doesn't pick up my voice as well, and not only that, it seems to take out some of the higher frequencies, so the voice comes out somewhat flat. still bubbles coming up. You can't see them obviously because I haven't got my head cam on, but in my number 2 spot, exactly where I put all the bait in, there are bubbles coming up. Perhaps I'll cast out there this time and see what happens. Casting on top of the bubbles is probably not the best pull on it, to be honest. Probably hit a tench on the head on the way down or something. Shouldn't ignore the fact they're there. Something is having a go at it already. I haven't even got the bite in the go on yet. It may not be tench, of course. They really look like tench bubbles out there. They're sort of little bubbles coming up in streams, you know. They were there last week, but I was fishing the float out there, but nothing came of it. We'll leave that bit of bread out there for a while and see what happens. Oh, something just happened. Wait, is it a tench? Something's playing around with it. Little tremors on the indicator, but nothing really, nothing significant. Oh, that was a fair pull. Let go again. It started to go and then it stopped. Perhaps it'll have another go. Let's wait and see, shall we? Still there. Yeah, we're in. Keep it out the reeds. Yeah, I think it's a tench. I just saw an olive green sort of. Oh no, I don't think it is. Oh, it's a bream. So that's what the bubbles were. I mean, significant bream. Yeah, so it was a bream, not a tench, making the bubbles. Nice looking bream, nice colouring. Ah, Jesus. Making a bit of a pig's ear of this, as usual. There's all this muck in the water. Yeah, that's a nice looking bream. Something else I haven't caught a lot of recently. Trouble is he's covered with debris from the lake, but it's a nice looking fish. There we go. One bream. Super. I'm back on the head cam and I'm over in what I call my number 1 spot over in the reeds there by the reed island, and I think we got a bite. Yeah, something's having a go. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it feels reasonable. Probably another tench. No, it may be a bream. I just saw it. It's a bream, I think. Yeah. The tench have gone to sleep and the bream have woken up. Oh dear, it's all caught up in the bloody lily pads. Oh dear. Go and get it out. No, it's caught on that willy stem, isn't it? That's it. It's managed to get itself out. Yeah, there's some nice bream in here. Yeah. Yeah, these are nice fish. Just try and get some of this debris out. Yeah. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. See, that didn't do you any good, you see. Silly fish. Not that slimy either. They're for bream. They're quite like a rough feel to them. Nice fish though. I think that's perhaps it's spawning. I don't know. Right, let's put it back. Taking a long time to recover this one. They certainly give a good account of themselves for bream. There we go. Oh, you silly fish. I got you out and then you go back in again. Yeah, okay. Right. Well, that's given me another shower. Okay, I've gone down to a 12 hook with a bunch of maggots. I thought the hook I had on was a 10, but in point of fact it was an 8. I think I'd set this rod up to do some carp fishing and tied the 8-pound line direct to a size 8, probably thinking I'd be using crust or large pieces of bread, and so it wasn't a 10, it was an 8, so it's quite remarkable really that the smaller fish even tried to take the bait. It didn't matter too much with the bread, obviously they couldn't see the hook inside the bread, but with the maggots it's a bit of an off-putter really. Anyway, I'm on a 12 now, looks a bit more respectable. Not ridiculously small, but small enough to cover with a bunch of maggots. Just had a jab on the rod, but it's not come to anything. It's just after 1 o'clock and I haven't really recorded anything for the last hour or so because not much has been happening. I've been getting a lot of sort of snatchy little bites soon after the ledger hits the deck, which I guess I roach or rod. I've not been able to hook any of them, to be honest. Sometimes just as I've tightened the line, the rod snatches around, but this rod's got a very, it's not a sort of rod you can get rod top indication on, so I don't even get time to set up the bobbin, and they've had a go at it, but as I say, I've not hooked any of them. I did see a carp cruising in these lilies, and I've managed to put a bit of crust out there, which those two ducks haven't actually spotted yet, which is quite amazing. Just one piece, and I'm keeping my eye on that to see if perhaps something comes up and takes it. But We're not seeing any fish, but we're getting a good view of the ducks. Ducks and daisies. What a lovely little picture. Yeah, it's just gone 1:30, so it's about this time last week that the carp started to get a bit active. Yeah, I can see one out there. I can see two out there on the surface. One looks like a goldfish. Can't really see the other one, other than the fact it's pushing around under the lily pad. As I said earlier, I put a bit of crust out in these lily pads, which the duck ultimately found, but it was there quite a long time before the duck found it, and nothing sniffed around it, so we'll keep an eye open and see what happens. I dropped a crust down in this margin and the carp's just come up and taken it. So, God knows what will happen if it takes it, because there's not a lot of chance of getting it in, I don't think. It's back in the area. It was just a little bit further out, so it may come back round. We'll be a bit more patient and see what happens. It'll be an explosive sort of battle if it does take it, because it's literally under my rod top. In fact, it's nearer than the end of my rod top. Just saw the lily move near the bread, so keep your fingers crossed. The trouble is the ducks are getting nearer. Coming towards the bread, so let's see what happens. No, he obviously felt the line, went away. Crafty things, carp. Yeah, it went up, it sucked at it, but it decided no. Still around though. Obviously felt the line. Close. Nearly. Right, another use of a wine cork. I should have put this on when I put that crust down there, but I was in a bit of a hurry to do it. And I left the link on, so the link obviously sunk and it felt the line. So what I'm going to try now is casting out over there with this, and I hope the blooming ducks don't go after it. It's no use trying to do anything here because they're here all the blooming time. No, waste of time. Absolute waste of time. Bloody ducks. They're too cute, aren't they? Just came up for the crust again, then rejected it. Far too cute. Right, took it that time. Yeah, okay. Well, I got him to take it, but whether I get him in or not, it doesn't matter. Got to muscle him out of these weeds. Big fish. There we go. Not ready yet, is he? Ah, dear. Keep his head up, I might get away with it. The trouble is, there's so much bloody stuff around the boy. Yes! Oh, whee. Ah. Oh well. Ah, dear. Yeah, okay, let's leave you in there, let yourself sort yourself out. Well, he never took it the first time, he took it the second time and paid the price. No. There we go. What a lovely fish. Whoa. Right, let's put you back in, then where were you? Right, 10.6, but the net weighs over a pound, so yeah, all right, I'll put you back. Come on, you can go back. I've moved around the other side of the reed bed. The ducks are on the other side, so I thought I'd come round here. I haven't actually seen any fish movement here, but at least I haven't got the ducks to contend with. I just cast and it actually went into the reeds, but fortune was on my side. I just pulled it and it's fallen out right next to the reeds, so that's an ideal position. Of course, if I get a fish there, it will try and get in the reeds, which would be a bit of fun. I think there's a carp coming up to it. Or am I imagining things? It's a bit difficult with all the shadows from the trees. Yeah, I think that's one. Yeah, another one. Floating crust really does work a treat. I've got some open water here, which is a little better than over there. Keep them from going in those lilies. I'm glad I brought a powerful rod with me. I guess there might be carp on the edge of those reeds. Trying for those lily pads. I'm trying to stop him. Oh. Oh, it's warm in the sun. I've been under that tree all day and out the sun. Oh, yeah. Oof. Yeah, it's a powerful fish. You're trying very hard to get me snagged. Could be bigger than the last one actually. Well, as I said right at the beginning of today, this is the first time I've used this rod, and I must admit I'm quite impressed with it, because like the float, it's a 6-section rod, it's a travel rod, and I actually bring it here in 3 sections. I don't bring it in 6 sections. But the action is superb for a 6-section rod. You know, it's all the way through. It's you'd think with all the extra joints it would be, I think it's trying to get in these reeds, isn't it? I think he might have succeeded actually. Yeah, he has. Ah, what a pig. He got me round that reed. Oh well, it was a good battle. We just never got him in. Ah dear. Never mind. I think he was bigger than the last one actually, but when you try and muscle them out the reeds like that, that's what can happen. So, never got to the photo opportunity stage unfortunately. Ah dear. I'm only on this 12 hook still, of course, which was probably a mistake. But, right, I'll sit down for a while and get over that, I think. Yeah, I think that was definitely a double figure. Probably only just about over £10 or something, but I think it was probably a double figure. Oh well, never mind. If these ducks would go, I'm sure I could get one out of this side as well. Well, that's it for today. Interesting day. Second week at the Earith pit, and I enjoyed it again, just like I did last time. Just as peaceful, just as at one with nature as I like it. Started off well. I caught a tench, a small one, but it was a tench. Then I lost something which was probably a tench. I thought it might have been a carp, but on reflection it was probably a tench. Caught one more tench, slightly bigger, but not massive, but that doesn't matter. And a couple of nice bream, which was good. Then we had a pretty quiet sort of middle part of the session when not much was happening. But I spotted the carp were up on the surface, so in competition with the ducks, so I tried floating crust. The first carp, I think I was really lucky to get in. I caught it literally under my rod top, and it was a 9-pound fish, and it really, the whole battle was in the lily pad, so that was pretty fortunate, I think. The second one, I had a lot of open water. I thought I'd tied it out, but just as it came into the near side, there was a reed there, and it must have got around it, and once they do that, that's it, it's curtains. So that was a bit unfortunate. After that, I tried to tempt a few more, but what with the ducks trying to get the bread before the carp, it didn't really work. But it was a good day. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to give me a like, that would be very nice. And if you want to subscribe, please do. And until the next time, it's cheerio for now, and cheers. Bye.